One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The anxiety guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine, a leading authority in generalized anxiety. Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the anxiety guy.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode number 29. I'm Dennis Simsek. This is the Anxiety Guy podcast. Thanks for joining us. And thank you as well for making us number one in the health category on iTunes. And if you could give this podcast a positive rate and review if you're enjoying it, I would really appreciate it very, very much as well. Make sure to check out our Facebook page under The Anxiety Guy because all our updates are going to be on there. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram under _anxiety_guy on Twitter or Dennis Anxiety Guy on Instagram. That would be fantastic because I'll be sharing loads of inspiration for people suffering from anxiety and chronic stress and panic attacks and everything. So, with that said, let's get on to episode number 29 today. And today's episode is one that's very dear to my heart because I have a personal, relatable story when it comes to the subject, the theme of today. The theme of today is about stress. It's about the secrets to why we stress, and understanding why we go through life chronically stressed and chronically worrying can go very far towards overcoming this feeling every day and overcoming this mindset and this belief that you struggle with on a daily basis. Because I always say that awareness, just simply awareness, conscious awareness of what's going on in our physical world is going to really make an impact as far as what we're thinking in our minds, what we believe, and what kind of emotions we have throughout our days. So the important thing to understand, guys, when it comes to stress, when it comes to over-worrying, is that people often upset themselves over the idea of something rather than the actual consequence of it. And this is really important. And I'm going to ask you guys a very, very important question here before I get to my personal story here that hopefully is going to be relatable to the listeners out there. The question is, do I think that the situation at hand is a problem because it is interfering with achieving my goals? Or do I think it is a problem because I have been taught that it is? Powerful, 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 powerful. Is what I'm worrying about connected to some kind of goal that I want to achieve in my life? Is it? Most of the time it's not. Or is it that I've been taught to worry about this thing? I've been taught to stress over this thing. Which one is it? There's a lot of power in that, guys, because the story that I'm about to tell you is one that was at the peak of my health anxiety, my symptoms, my panic attacks, and just such a dark time in my life. And now at this point, I'm so grateful to have overcome that. But at the time, and I know that there are sufferers out there, I see it on my Facebook page, I see it on Instagram, I talk to you guys on email all the time, and that's what this podcast is about. And this story goes back to the peak of my anxiety about 7 years back, 6-7 years back, not too far away. And it was during a time where I was working as a tennis coach, and I was in my element. I was teaching kids, which I love to do. There was about 8 kids, and I was on the first court, which means that when you're on the first court, you're the closest to the spectators. And the kids all had their parents there. Every one of the parents, some uncles, some siblings. The stands were almost full of these parents and these family members watching their kids play the tennis and learning about the game. And there I was teaching these 8 kids. Now, these 8 kids were somewhere between 7 and 10 years old, so super young, and just getting a feel for the sport. And I had a great first half of the lesson. Fantastic. Parents are happy, nodding their heads, everything going really swell, everything going fantastic. Halfway through, I start to go over a couple thoughts in my head. I start to worry about things such as being judged by the parents, being labeled. And the funny thing back then was that my career wasn't going very well. The money flow wasn't coming in too much. So there I was with some not raggedy clothes, but not really professional clothes. So I became self-conscious of what I was wearing, among other things that I was self-conscious about, as far as what I was saying to the kids, if I was doing a good job. And funny enough, it started on the second half. So my attention started to turn from the kids to the parents and on to myself. And I started to feel certain sensations come up. And the sensations came up. I started to feel tension in my throat. I started to feel my headache. I started to get dizzy. My breathing changed. My posture changed. Everything changed. And it came on so fast. And I had, back then I had a bit of a mask in my pocket. I had my Ativan, okay, and an anti-anxiety medication to help me in those moments that I really, really needed it. But that was just a small time in my life where I used that, and thankfully I moved past that time and overcame it naturally. But there I was, and I took a break. Right then and there, I said, I can't do this. I can't even teach. I just, everything became like a twilight zone. So I ran to the bathroom. There I am in the bathroom on the ground, going, God, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why now? Why now? I mean, all these parents, what are they thinking now? The coach isn't even on the court with them. And I didn't storm off the court, but I walked pretty fast. And I just I don't know what to do in that moment. And I'm sure you guys are relating to this story. And I thankfully I sort of got myself going again. I had the willpower to get up, and I said, you know what, I got to teach these kids. I got to finish this lesson. I can't just walk away right now. No one will, the word is going to spread to my boss. I might get fired. What will people think of me in the tennis world, and so on. So there I was. I opened the bathroom door. I started walking in the hall again, and I wasn't walking straight. I was really dizzy, and I'm really nervous. And I went through the bubble doors towards the court, and I could just feel all the eyes just glaring at me, and it just felt like a bunch of wolves, And have you ever been in that situation? Bunch of wolves looking at me, going, "What the heck just happened? Why is my kid on the court by themselves?" And without a coach. So there I was. I tried to get myself together. I continued the lesson, and again, just a few minutes into the lesson, I said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm in such a state. I'm in such a fearful state. I'm in such a panicky state, an anxious state, and thoughts were just whirling around my head. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here right now. I got to get some fresh air. I got to run. And so I ran, left the kids, left the parents, left my racket, left all the tennis balls on the court, walked out, and got into my car, and I drove about 4 blocks away. I drove 4 blocks away, and I couldn't drive anymore, so I stopped the car. I got out. I got on my hands and knees right on the corner, and I was just praying, going, "Oh my God, is this it? Is this the moment? Is this the way I'm gonna die?" And it's just snowball effect. Called 911. Thankfully, they came really fast. And back then, calling the emergency was a common thing. It was a weekly thing for me. But this one was beyond. I mean, the guys came, the ambulance guys came, and started to ask me a bunch of questions. How are you feeling? And at that point, my breathing was just so shallow. It was just so shallow, and I just thought, you know what, this is it. And the first question, one of the first things that one of the guys said was that, "Are you Dennis?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, you're the guy that teaches my kids." So you're the guy that teaches my kids tennis. So at that moment, I said, okay, I could look at this in two ways. I could either be nervous about what they're going to think of, or I could look at this and go, you know what, that's fantastic. This person remembers me. That's great. I could turn my intention possibly from panic to something else. So that continued there. And I got to the emergency room. I got IVs in me. Everything went okay. And in a matter of a couple hours, I was able to get myself back again and somewhat with a sense of such amazing relief, walk out of the ambulance or the emergency room and thanking God that I was alive, and just filled my brain with so much confusion as to what the hell just happened. And that's when things become chronic, because that's when you start to go and research your symptoms. That's when you start to go to forums and ask for reassurance. That's when you start to go on chats and find friends that are dealing with the same thing, and the cycle goes on and on and on without any end. And it sucks, right? And you've been there. So I said, no, but let's get back to why it all started. It started because of the fear of being judged and labeled, which is what we're talking about today. The fear of being judged, what sort of things are going through somebody else's head? What do they think of me? What do they think of the thoughts? What do they think of the words that are coming out of my mouth? What do they think about the clothes I'm wearing? What do they think about my past? What do they think of what kind of coach I am? It can go on and on and on. That's where the anxiety started in the story. That's where the panic started. And the important thing that we need to recognize through this episode is that, are we worrying because we think we should worry about something, or are we actually worrying because it's moving us closer towards, it's affecting our goal that we've set for ourselves? So a lot of times the causes, let's go over the causes here, because we live in such a world where, advertisements, and people are just experts nowadays. The advertisements you see on TV and you step out of your house and such are so well done that they affect what we write. They affect how we talk to people. They affect what we believe. It affects everything. And it's subconscious. It's unconscious. It's outside of our awareness. It's outside of our conscious awareness. And this is something that is very scary, because if you don't take control of your mind, you could fall victim to a torturous life. And I'm not talking about, there's a difference between being happily comfortable and having a grateful life. For a long time, even after my anxiety disorder, lived a comfortably happy life. That is not the way we're supposed to be living. We're supposed to be living gratefully, positively, surrounding ourselves with good people, surrounding ourselves with nature, not advertisements, not marketing, not this, not that, not people that are going to bring us down, not anxiety. This side is where we need to be. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm pointing to one side or the other. And that is our true selves. That is our true voice. That is not our critical voice. It is our true voice. And that is the side that we need to continue to work towards getting on. But let's talk about the causes. Media, advertisements, other people, your upbringing, and the types of worry. For a long time, I was fearful of turning 40. I'm headed in that direction. I'm going to turn 40. Oh God, what are people going to think? Is my hair going to fall off? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Am I going to have to let go of some of the goals and dreams in my life? Is my wife going to leave me? Is my kid going to think I'm just this old person? And on and on and on. We just make links towards that, around that one worry. A lot of people are self-conscious about, say, something on their face, like their nose. I got a big nose, Is that a worry that is programmed into us, telling us that we should worry about it? Or is that based around a goal that I've set for myself from my recent past? Another one is that we must be loved. We must be loved, Our parents maybe programmed us that, they shared so much love with us, and we go into the adult world and we go, move out of our house. We're in our world, we're in our career, and now we feel like we must continue to be loved by other people. We must continue to be loved. And if we don't get that, we get it from our pets. If we don't get it from people, we get it from our dogs. But some way we must be loved from someone else. It shouldn't come from ourselves, is what we're saying. The love shouldn't be brought on from ourselves. It should be from someone else all the time. I must always feel loved. Another type of worry that's programmed. And you can see that throughout a day, what I really want you guys to do is go, you know what? Throughout my day, and we're talking about the evening now, what are some of the things that I worried about today? Now, are those worries based around some kind of cause? Is it caused by something, some person, some media, some upbringing situation? Or is that related to some goal that I have for myself? Which one is it? Okay, if it's set for something, if it's based around your goal, that's okay. But even what's the common, this fantastic quote, over worrying gives you something. Over worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. I love that quote. I love it. It's so true. And even if we have a set goal for ourselves and we're worrying about some kind of link towards that goal, guys, I want to remind you that worrying will never change the outcome of something. Worrying will never change the outcome of something, okay? And over-worrying is just causing you to be more more drained as far as your mental health goes, more drained as far as your physical health goes. You know that feeling when you come home at night and you worked, and you have nothing left. First thing you do is hit the couch, you turn the TV on. You've already been stimulated by the outside world. You've already gone through such chronic worry and chronic stress by over-worrying about stuff that you're programmed to worry about. And now you're turning the TV on and you're becoming stimulated by the TV and all those things that are coming at you that you have no control over, and your body and mind are going, when am I going to get a break? When am I going to get a break from all this? When is this going to stop, right? And I believe that we need to stop it starting today. We need to become more conscious about what we're worrying about and why we're worrying about it. We need to become more conscious of what is overstimulating us throughout the day, and how can I take that away? What is making my nerves work in overdrive? What is affecting my adrenals that is making me tired throughout the day? Is there someone that I keep hanging around that feels like, that it feels like they're draining me, that they're not worried about my goodness in this world? And these are things that you really need to take notice of starting today, because if you don't, this world is going to control you. People are going to control you. And you need to take control back by going, you know what? I'm starting to become aware of what's going on when I wake up in the morning. What sort of habits am I starting with? Am I getting up? Am I listening to some kind of motivational video? Am I, watching the Anxiety Guy YouTube video, which I hope you guys are doing, and being a part of a success story that I want to, achieve in my own life, or am I starting with this gloomy feeling, getting out of bed, oh God, another day, here we go, And like Anthony Robbins says, get into my box car, eat a box cereal, we live in a box and such. So really being aware and being conscious, guys, is really important. And I'm going to leave you guys with that message today. And make sure to subscribe to the Anxiety Guy podcast. And like I said, guys, a rate and review if you're enjoying this podcast would be fantastic. It would really help us out, our whole team. Make sure to go to YouTube and check out the Anxiety Guy videos, and you can subscribe to that as well. There's a lot of inspiration there. And what we're trying to do here is build a community of people, guys, that are not afraid to fear. That are people that are able and are strong enough to move with their fears rather than try to push their fears away. And that's what builds confidence. That's what builds self-esteem. And that is the only way that you can provide more value for other people. And that's what we're on this planet to do, is to provide more value for other people, to change other people's lives. So get inspired, get motivated. Change starts today. Download this episode, guys, and I'll see you on the Facebook page under the Anxiety Guy. Have a wonderful day. See you in episode number 30. Take care.